Hey YouTube family, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Millie, yay! And I'm back with another video. Today it's a life Today it's a life update. Today it's a life update. I'm just going to be updating you guys on what has been happening. You probably would have known what's happening in my life because of this channel, basically, but I've never sat down and really talked about it. So here's that video. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, you know what it is. I love you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and like. Stay tuned. Millie. First of all, guys, I know if you're like always watching my videos, you know that I never do these videos with makeup on. Hey, it never happens. So one of my goals for 2022 was to learn how to actually do makeup. I've always been intimidated by it. I've never thought that I could do my own makeup. So last week I went into Clicks and I bought like a lot of makeup stuff. I did record the experience, so the video should be going up either next week or the week after that. We will see, since my personal videos only go up on Wednesday, so it's only once a week. But I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that I did my makeup following a tutorial, and I was surprised. As you can see, guys, I don't look half as bad. And this is the second time I'm literally doing my own full beat. I even went and I was experimenting with eyeshadows. It might not look like professional yet, and I really don't care. I really don't care. It's yellow and green, and I tried to blend it. I'm making strides in the right direction. I am on my way to being a bad. Oh my freaking goodness. I'm gonna be a bad. By 2023, bands will make a dance. But anyway, let me get into my life update. So I don't even know where to start. Um, if I look at my life now and where I was 3 years ago, my life is completely different. And to be honest, it's things that I would have never expected it. I would have never expected my life to have taken this route so quickly. Like where I am now and where I was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, this month actually, I was pregnant. I was in my 9th month pregnant. I was living alone, and it was just me and my pregnancy, and we were trying to make it to the due date so that, my baby could just come out. Because I realized now how dangerous that was, being a heavily pregnant woman, being pregnant, going through my whole pregnancy and not having someone in the house with me. But 3 years ago, I was pregnant. I was by myself. I was single. I was like trying to figure out how I'm going to raise a child by myself, how I'm going to basically go from each stage they need me, how I'm going to balance work and life, how I am going to do everything that I need to do as a parent by myself for my child and make sure that he lacks nothing. And that's where I was 3 years ago. That bundle of joy is making noise, and I don't know why he's banging stuff in his room. But anyway, fast forward to 3 years later, 2019 versus 2022. 2022, I'm married, currently living with my husband and my son, and we are a little family, and it's so amazing how we just gelled. Everybody just gelled. Marty absolutely loves his dad. One of my biggest worries that he might not be able to adjust from us being just us and him having a dad. But trust me, that little boy adjusted so quickly, and like his go-to person is dad. Like everything he wants is daddy. The only time he really comes to me is when him and his dad have a disagreement and he's told not to do something, and then he thinks he can have his way with me, because obviously he knows that we used to be G's, and he can get away with a lot of things. But I try not to take sides. I don't take sides. So you know how it is. But yeah, and things happened for me, like like I do say, I didn't think it would happen this quickly. I always imagined me getting married again, yes, and meeting someone, but probably down the line, probably when my son is getting in primary school, when he understands, and I've already explained to him that you have a dad, but we're not together, and all these things. So, it just happened in a way that I didn't expect, and that's facts. I didn't expect it, because like you've seen in the past, I met my husband on Tinder when my son was 4 months old, and we only started dating about 8 months later. So, like I've spoken about in the past, I met my husband on Tinder, and at that point, my son was about 4 months old. I wasn't really looking for like my next boyfriend or like a serious relationship. It was actually a dare when I went on Tinder. I'd never been on any dating site, and then my friends at work are like, "Guys, let's have Tinder because it's fun, it's thrilling." And trust me, Tinder is exciting for like the first 10 minutes, and then pew, just goes down the drain. So we went on Tinder as a dare, and then I just started talking to a lot of people, and then at some point I just got off Tinder and I stopped talking to a lot of people. But I kept talking to this one guy, so we just kept talking. We talked. We started going on dates. We started seeing each other. I think we started getting closer. And I remember he met my son when just before we started dating. I think Marty was about 8 or 9 months old. And at that point, Marty was so territorial. He wanted no business with any man. Like, it's like he had never seen men before. He always interacted with women. His nanny was a woman. His mom was a woman. His teachers in daycare were women. Like, his go-go. Like, everyone is just female. So he was a bit territorial at first. But they started getting along until we actually started dating and would go on family outings and whatnot and whatnot. So obviously we've always had a different format of a relationship, and I guess for our relationship we jumped into like being a family really quickly, as much as we did set aside time for just us alone. Like, I mean, in the first year of our relationship, we only went to about 2 or 3 family outings, but the rest of the time was for us. It's only like in the second year of dating, after I decided that I want nothing to do with nannies, that we actually started doing this more often and actually co-parenting while we were dating. Like, he started learning. And the crazy thing is that my husband has never interacted with kids, and he was so anxious about interacting with Marty for the longest time. But now I'm just here being told what to do. I always make a joke. There's a time we went to Cape Town for our anniversary, and then so it was a few months after our anniversary, but yeah, it was for our anniversary, and then we left Martin with my older sister, and on the day we went to leave him, my then boyfriend, who's my husband now, sat my sister down and was telling her everything that she needs to do for Marty. Marty needs to sleep at 8. If he cries, this is what you do. When he needs the toilet, this is what he will say. This is what he will do. If you want this clothes, when he gets really cold, he likes this jacket. Like, I'm just sitting there like, that was the sweetest thing I've ever seen, to be honest, because no one knows Marty more than we do, and it just felt nice to see someone else do what I would probably have needed to have done. And that's when I started seeing that, you know what, this is different. And I actually am going to do a video down the line about my experience as a single mom versus like actually being two parents in a household, and how that has impacted my life, because there are things that I didn't realize when I was a single mom that they were bad. Like, they were bad for me, not for Marty, for me. And you only start realizing it after you start letting go and letting others. So, yeah. So in January, my husband proposed, and he's like, "I want to get married. I'm ready for us to take this step and get married." So he's like, "I'm ready. I'm ready with the lobola money. I want to do this, right?" I'm like, cool. Like, I'm happy. I say yes. It was great. I uploaded the video. This one, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. And then we basically got engaged. And yeah, so it was based so at first it was exciting, and I was looking forward to like a long engagement. I mean, I was like, oh, now I can start planning a wedding. We can have a wedding in December. Things would be so, I'm gonna go big or go home. Like, I had a lot of ideas, I haven't been a little girl who dreamt about her wedding or whatever. I just always had different versions of my wedding. Like, I had different ideas. One day I want this. But one thing I knew was that I want an African theme. And that's one thing I've always wanted. So I was ready to start planning my wedding. Then I think about a week into our engagement, my husband got a job offer to leave this country. So he now needs to relocate, but we're engaged. How can I come with you when we're engaged? So we obviously talked about it with people who could actually help us with the situation. Then they're like, no, with these things, just the easiest way for you, if you're now applying for jobs outside the country and you want to move as a family, the easiest thing to do is apply once you're actually married. Like, just do these things. And so it became one of those moments of making a decision, basically. Like, okay, you want to get a job in another country, and this is the path that you want to choose and you have chosen, and I want to marry you. My job is not location specific, so I can work from anywhere in this country, in this world. I can even go back anywhere as long as I've got stable internet and whatever. So I'm good anywhere we are. So now it was like, okay, since you're now getting job offers from different countries, maybe we should just make sure we're in the right place before we actually get like a written offer or a chance to move. Like, let's see what we can do to make sure that if you then get a job and you accept an offer from a different country, then we're in the right position. So we obviously did talks. I spoke to my mom about it. We spoke to everybody about it. And like, okay, so then we came up and made a decision. And the decision was that he would come and pay lobola. And once he's paid lobola, we would just go to court and sign. And then once we go to court and sign and we now have a marriage certificate, we can start planning our wedding. And then, yeah, that was literally the plan, and I was happy with that plan because I was like, after we do the whole Lobola day, whatever, once we'll just figure out which country we want to get married in, and we'll just go register in court, get married, and then we'll come back and start planning the wedding, and we can still have our December wedding. If you do then get a job to leave, we can leave. If you don't, at least we are in the right place. And then in the right place for us, at least. So yeah, so the lobola, initially we had planned that we wanted to do it around May, June. That's when we were gonna do it. But because of the new plan we had, we were like, okay, instead of May, let's do it in March. And since he was prepared for the lobola, and it was just supposed to be the lobola. So obviously I went to my mom. I'm like, Mom, this is what we've decided. We need you guys to give us a date around March, April. So it was supposed to be March, April, but then it started clashing with a lot of things because then my husband had to go to Germany on a work trip, and then there was memorials at home, and there was just so many things clashing. So then it was actually initially in April, and then we moved it to March, last week of March, the 26th of March. And then yeah, so basically that's what we did for we waited for that for a while. And then I don't know what I mean by we waited for that for a while. I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, so it moved to March, and then yeah, I go to my mom. I explained to her, this is what we want. Give us a date in March, in April, March, whatever. We come up with the date, and then I'm like, cool. So we're just gonna do a lobola day. So maybe we'll just get a cake, and then everyone who's at the lobola will make lunch for them, and just make a thing of it. So that's where it started. And I'm like, let's make a little thing of it. Like, maybe just have like 20 or 30 people, and then we'll do a small shindig. And then, yeah, that's how it started. Then my mom's like, so 2 weeks later, my mom's like, I've been thinking, since you already want to do a little mini shindig after the lobola, the aurora has been paid and everything, why don't we ask a pastor to come and marry you guys in the presence of everyone who came to the lobola thing? And so I'm like, okay, so what would be the difference in that? And obviously, we had to then do our own researches. Then we actually realized that with the pastor, it's just the same as the court. So he can just come, do what he needs to do, and then he'll sign. So I was like, okay, yeah, if because now the pastor became more convenient because we could do everything on the same day with the Rora rather than get the Rora done and then we go to court. And y'all know that if you're getting married in court, you have to be there by 6:30 for the wedding. I want to talk about getting married in Zimbabwe. The video is actually coming out next week Wednesday, so you should watch out for that. And then yeah, so it became, I'm like, okay, that's simpler. So now we're having our Aurora Day, and then on the afternoon of the Aurora Day, with the Aurora guests, our pastor was going to officiate the joining of us so that we can be legally married, so that we can have it on paper in case we need it. And then yeah, that was cool for 2 weeks until we started discussing the guest list. So my mom, we write a list of everyone who's required to be there for the Aurora, and then we come up with the list. We decide, yeah, this is what we need, this is where we're going, and all of a sudden I have a list of 100 people. So, mind you, these 100 people include nobody from my husband's side because they're not in Zimbabwe. And then my mom obviously was like, no, it's so difficult to cut out people because it's like a little wedding, so people would like to be there. So usually we thought we are just gonna do people who are necessary, like the tetes, the parents, and an ambuya. But this is where it became. So then now I'm like, this is a wedding. Because I mean, ideally, if you think about it, a wedding usually has like, let's say, like 200 guests, 100 from each side. So basically, we're having a wedding, Moose. And we fought, guys. We went back and forth for a while until I was just like, you know what? If I then do this wedding in Zimbabwe, that is the last wedding I'm doing in Zimbabwe, because I had planned to do a wedding both in SA and Zimbabwe. So it becomes the Zimbabwe wedding. Okay, that's how it's gonna be. So we're like, cool. We're on 100, and the number keeps going up until the last days. Like it was just crazy. So we now started planning our wedding in February. So we're planning a wedding in February. We're getting married in March. That literally gave us 2 months to plan a wedding. 2 freaking months. And I was doing all the planning, and at the same time I was juggling with work and whatnot because I'm a control freak. And one thing that saves me in this whole process was Excel sheets. Like, I put everything I needed to do in Excel. And even my husband had not realized the gravity of this endeavor that we were about to embark on, because obviously he was prepared, he had saved up, and he's like, no, I'm good, whatever, bring it on. I'm like, homie. Oh, yes. And we all know stuff in Zim is just expensive for no reason. So, yeah, in February, we started planning for a wedding. And after I put everything in Excel, I broke it down into weekly targets. When I put weekly targets, I would put weekly targets on what I needed to get, what I needed to buy, what I needed to pay for, deposits, what. And we put the weekly targets for the next 8 weeks of our wedding planning. And it was hard. It was steep. But God did the things, guys. Like, I always look back and I'm like, I still don't know how everything came together so seamlessly. And it was a very respectable event. Like, you wouldn't think we planned it in 2 months, because we managed to, everything was there, food, entertainment. Like, we had a bowl, and everything was done. I mean, all the food we ate there, I bought most of that stuff in South Africa. So I was buying stuff weekly, and once I have 2 or 3 bags full, I would send them back home. My parents would pick them up by the bus and just stack them in my room. When I got back, I sorted everything out. We had all the alcohol, all the drinks were from here, and all the food, except the fresh food, the meat and whatnot. That's the only stuff I went to Zim and bought. So by the time I went to Zim, the only thing that was left to buy was fresh food, like meat and vegetables. So like, the pressure was off me. The only thing that then gave me pressure was my wedding dress. And the groomsmen's shirts. Oh, those gave me pressure, guys. I realized that I probably never want to deal with a tailor again in my life. And I've got so many dresses that I would like to get made, but I'm probably not going to do it because tailors. Huh. I have to mentally prepare myself for that endeavor. And I remember I made this video here that's showing basically the evolution of my wedding dress, and I drew it on a piece of paper. Initially, I had provided a picture of what I wanted, and then it didn't come out the way I wanted. Then I drew a different design based off the design that she had decided to make that looked nothing like the design I wanted. And then we ended up coming to an agreement. I did like my dress. I still had things I wanted to change about it, but like I literally got it on the Thursday of the wedding on Saturday, and already things were just a mess. Another thing that took long for me was the registration process of the actual marriage. One of the reasons why we decided to get married in Zimbabwe is that marriage is actually easiest in Zimbabwe for me, because it was easiest in Zimbabwe for me. I know South Africa, they were giving us a 3-month waiting period. And then after that 3-month waiting period, they wanted us to then come in for like a Q&A where they'd probably quiz us on how well we know each other, because my husband's a permanent resident here. And obviously they'll be thinking that I'm trying to become one as well, even though I don't qualify yet. So it's like, okay, whatever. But and obviously the Congo was not even an option. Then we can get married at the consulate, but I think it costs like 6,000 rands. But they don't even recognize their marriage certificate because it's not then registered in Congo. They just register it at the consulate or something weird like that. So we couldn't do that. So yeah, my life literally got quick and it turned upside down, and things just happened so fast. 2 months later, I got married, and it was one of the best days of my life. I loved everything came together, and I got married. Like, I still don't believe it, guys. I still don't believe it. Like, I just sit back and I'm just like, what's going on? But now I'm a wife and I'm a mother. I'm still coming to terms with the fact that I'm a mother. So you can imagine how long it's gonna take me to come to the point where I actually understand that I am someone's wife. Sorry, I just took a little break to just look at my makeup because it's looking really, really good. No cap. But anyway, yeah, so now things have just, they're just crazy. So now we're dealing with paperwork and things like that so that we can just both be able to kind of use the same name and whatnot. This process is just really rigorous and hard. But yeah, you guys have also noticed that I've started releasing music again. I mean, my husband's always like, guy, you call yourself a musician, but you don't have your own music. Such a hater, but I've started releasing music again, and it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I think the reason why sometimes I wouldn't end up making music is because I'll choose to make other people's music and make more money than I would from my own in that moment, just so that I can pay bills. But now I'm a bit comfortable. I'm living a bit of a nice life than I was before, because everything is shared now. It's not just on me. It's not my prerogative to come up with food every day. It's not my prerogative to pay the rent and all these things. It's a different life that I'm now living, and it's taken some adjusting to, because I have stayed by myself since 2012, 2014. I've stayed by myself, and I've stayed by myself with my son since 2019. So all I ever know is that I have to work for everything that's needed in this house. So that has been a big change in my life, and not a negative one at all. Like, it's nice. It's nice to actually love and be loved, and to be able to depend on someone else as equally as you depend on yourself. So that has been my life in the past 6 months, I think, 6 months of my life. I'm probably going to come with another life update in the next 6 months to see if we ended up deciding to relocate. Did we move? Did we go somewhere else? Did we start afresh? What am I doing with my career? Where am I going? And people always ask me, like, I remember I got sick and people are like, you need to take a pregnancy test. I was dying, guys. Like, I was dying, and all people thought was I was pregnant. So I guess, things never change. Once you get married, the next thing that people really want is babies, and they don't care about what you think or whatever. So make babies. So I will talk about that in the next life update that will come in a couple of months. It just felt ideal since we're halfway almost through the year. This month is basically the last month of the first half of the year, and that's what has been happening for me. And it's so exciting because I have seen growth in not only my personal life, but growth in my endeavors, my business, my drive, my consistency. I'm actually a different person sometimes. I look back and I'm like, I'm so proud of myself for everything that I'm managing to do and to achieve by myself and with my family. So yeah, that has been my life update, and I hope you enjoyed my video. Remember to subscribe and like, and check out my new music. I have currently 2 songs that I released this month, an acoustic version and the main version of the song. They're all on my channel. You just go to my channel to be the first thing you see, my music. Trust me. And please leave a like, comment, tell me what you think, and you know what it is. I love you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Kisses.